Heat number 2 is going to start off any second now, and we're going to see out in the water. Who do we got?
Coming up in this heat, we're going to see in the red jersey, Alberto Bruno from Brazil. He is joined by fellow countryman Ider Luciano in white. Then we have the two Australians, Chase O'Leary in yellow and Andrew Lester in blue. So we have Brazilians versus Australians in this heat. I'm sure our viewers online are going to be hitting up the Google Plus. And there you have the results from the last heat. Leonardo Costa on his last wave, able to jump into that second and advancing spot. Daniel Ferreira, not enough, a little too late with his charge, finishes third. Kalani Latanzi dropped down to fourth. So Daniel and Kalani, great showing, but their run is done. João Zeke and Leonardo Costa, we will see them in round 3. That was an interesting little flurry of waves there at the end of that heat.
As you can see, there's not really high-scoring waves right now to start off today's broadcast, but again, we're going to see 3 to 4 foot waves all day offshore, and the sun's going to peep over the mountain any second now. But combination of maneuvers, it's always that first heat. They're the guinea pigs. Put them out first, and everybody's going to be watching and see how the waves and conditions fare up. Here we go, up and riding. Big roll right there through the lip. That is our rider in blue, Andrew Lester.
There we go. Andrew Lester, as we mentioned, was up here in the booth yesterday. Wasn't very happy with his performance in his heat, and comes out here and gets a pretty solid wave under his belt to start things off. I'm sure he's going to be happy to start things off on a positive note.
So we got the 2 Australian versus the 2 Brazilians out in this water. Roberto Bruno in red, Eder Luciano in white, Chase O'Leary in yellow, and in the blue jersey, Andrew Lester. So Andrew Lester, he's hungry.
All right. So I'd like to thank those of you who are just tuning in. This is the 2012 Itacoatiara Pro, sponsored by Pride, uzk.com and net. By my side, I've got Manny Vargas. We're in the second heat of round 2, and here we have up and riding in white, Ider Luciano.
Oh, nice maneuver right there from Eder Luciano in white. And we saw him last year in Portugal. The waves were super small, but he was able to launch some gigantic backflips and ARSs. Let's take another look at this one.
Here you can see Eder dropping in, eyeing up that section, comes off the bottom, punches through the lip, gets the air roll spin going, gets the rotation around, and there you have it. Showing what he's got. It's surprising to see him being able to maneuver in small waves. Obviously not that small today, but as you were talking about in Portugal, because Ider is a pretty tall guy. So, that's a lot of body to maneuver around out in the water.
And he has the skills to catapult his body high on some of the smallest sections I've ever seen. So it's going to be cool to watch him in some of these little wedgers. So as you can see, the sun is starting to creep up and over the mountain. Not a cloud in the sky compared to what we've seen the last week here. Just consistent rain and squalls coming through. And but they delivered the waves, and now up and riding. Delivering this one is Andrew Lester.
Lester up and riding on a second wave, driving down the line, and not really coming together the way he wants, so he's going to kick out of that one. Meanwhile, it looks like yellow. Chase O'Leary up and riding on this one.
All right, Chase taking a nice clean turn off the bottom, going straight off the bottom. Nice clean cylindrical roll. And I think that might be it. We're not seeing too many. There's another maneuver right there. Not too many multiple maneuvers on the waves. And Chase putting together one right there.
So there you have it. The Port Macquarie local putting together a solid ride there to get on the board here in Heat 2, Round 2. He'll paddle back out and look for a secondary wave. Nice little wave exchange out there between Lester, O'Leary, and Luciano.
Once again, this is the Itacoatiara Pro, sponsored by Pride, uzk.com and net. Thank you all for tuning in. Kevin in Perth. Here we go again. This guy's been on from day one. Lachlan in Cronulla. And look at this, down the beach.
Alberto Bruno up and riding. Gets a nice roll off of that section. Still going. Going to get another roll off of the inside section. And throws a third roll off of that whitewater section on the inside, takes that one all the way to the beach.
That's pretty much an example of how much the Brazilians can milk a wave. I mean, he didn't have to do that roll in the whitewash at the very end, but that competitive edge these guys have is it's on a different level. Zach going for his boy Chase, and shout out to Nick Ellick, who's Chase O'Leary's biggest fan. Cronulla Tom, Ryan just waking up. Thank you for tuning in once again. And pour yourself a cup of coffee. No sugar gives me a headache. Cortland, what's up? Port Macquarie, Lachlan in Cronulla. So what time is it in Perth? Kevin Lang tuning in. Conditions are a lot more smaller today. We're trying to get our little iPad system here to give us the scores. So what you see on your screen is what we have as well. So I'm going to hand this iPad over to our tech guy, Andrew Bleakley, so he can get this situated and get it rocking and rolling for us. But there you have it.
All
Jackson.
Right. So currently, Eder Luciano in the lead. A 7.5 on that first wave of his. So pretty solid score for Eder Luciano. Eder coming to us from Santa Catarina in the south of Brazil.
Santa Catarina. One thing I do like about... Oh, wait a second. Out the back. Here we go.
Andrew Lester up and riding on this one. Drops down, drives off the bottom. This is a foamy one. He kicks out of this one, too. It's still a little foamy on the inside like we've seen throughout the course of competition thus far. Lester had a solid first wave, and the last two have been smaller inside waves, kind of foamed up on him. Not a lot to work with, but he's got a few waves under his belt. Decent score on his first wave. He just needs a good follow-up wave to get that secondary score.
All right, looks like Andrew Lester's next wave came in at a 1.08. Again, he's sitting on a 5-point ride on his first wave, but Eder Luciano with that solid ARS 7.2. Eder Luciano in first position. Again, these are 30-minute heat. Top two waves will be scored, 12-wave maximum, and the top two riders will advance on to round number 3. The bottom two, third and fourth. See you later, sayonara, obrigado. Chase O'Leary with a 4.75. That's a pretty good score, but it's only one wave, tons of time. Roberto Bruno, he's on one wave, a 5.13. Andrew Lester, a 5, and a couple other waves. Eder Luciano, a 7.2. So everybody's got their first solid wave. Now can they back it up with a second solid wave? Look at this out the back.
Looks like a little set wave rolling in. Still lines on the horizon. Still swell pulsing in, just at a smaller size. A little bit more of a manageable clip today. I'm sure our riders appreciate the cleaner conditions and the offshore winds.
There you have it. Round number 2, heat 10. This is where we're at. Eder Luciano with a solid first wave, 7.2. Taking a look at this one.
And up and riding Eder Luciano. Drops down to the bottom. Driving, eyes up the section, going for another air roll spin, and gets it around in the whitewater. So another solid wave for Luciano.
Nice. He's going to be pumped on that one.
And we have yellow Chase O'Leary up and riding.
Oh!
Nice invert.
The first invert of the day right there from Chase O'Leary. Nice, clean maneuver. Pulls it off, lands clean. The judges are going to like that variety right there. Woo!
All right, so there you can see Chase and Eder paddling back out to the lineup. Meanwhile, we have Andrew Lester and Alberto Bruno out there waiting for the next round of waves to roll through.
So a lot of Australians tuned in today, this morning, and we appreciate it. We know it's going to be in the wee hours of the late night over there, so thank you for tuning in. Here's another look at Eder Luciano.
There, Luciano with a nice speed line on this one, looking for that section, and just before it breaks, he heads up to the top, throws into the ARS, and manages to get it around in the whitewater, rides it out.
Nice.
Good wave for Eder.
All right, so the conditions today, we are looking at clean offshore conditions. 3 to 4 foot waves are going to be very interesting to see how the riders are going to adjust their strategies. Not that consequence-heavy conditions we've seen in the last couple of days. Here's another look at Chase O'Leary's invert.
Chase O'Leary projecting off the bottom, hits this perfectly, gets
Nice.
a nice little tweak on that, braces for the
Nice.
landing, lands on that whitewater explosion coming up, cushions the fall, a little less impact. Nice riding by Chase O'Leary, the port boy.
We got two Brazilians and two Australians out in the water right now. In red, Roberto Bruno, the Brazilian. In white, Eder Luciano, the Australian. In yellow, Chase O'Leary and Andrew Lester in blue, also from Australia, mate. Two riders advance on. Two riders, we'll call it quits. Taking a look. In yellow, Chase O'Leary.
Chase O'Leary eyeing this one up and decides to turn around. He's going to let that one pass by.
Josh Oreo from Port Macquarie. How many Port Macquarie viewers do we have out there? Everybody's from Port Macquarie or Australia, but the Australians are on it. Billy Watkins in Warren, Australia. Greg Hind, and here we go.
We have a situation change out in the water. Chase O'Leary moving into the second spot with a 7.63 on his last wave. That's his new high score. That moves him into the second spot. That drops Andrew Lester to third and Alberto Bruno in fourth. Those two guys still have just under 19 minutes, but they need to start putting together some solid scores. Andrew has that 5 for his first wave, but he still needs a secondary score. Alberto Bruno still needs a second score to be judged if he's going to have a shot at this.
Yeah, Andrew Lester, it'd be a shame to see him go down here in round number 2. He's got to pick up the pace a little bit. There are 18 minutes left in this 30-minute heat, so taking a look down the beach, look at that.
All right, and here we have in yellow up and riding Chase O'Leary on his next wave. Little bounce towards the top, going for the air roll spin and unable to maintain control. Got bounced in the whitewater on that, Manning.
Oh, no. You would think the maneuvers would be able to be completed because of the smaller conditions, but the wave is still powerful. The water coming into the beach is still heavy, coming out of the deep ocean of the Atlantic and unloading on the shallows here in Brazil, Itacoatiara Beach. Itacoatiara Pro. I had so much trouble saying that yesterday during the highlight video, but I think I was just under pressure because we did it out in the street and everybody was just watching. I was a little nervous.
Yeah, I'm sure most of our viewers can notice, but for those of you who are not real experienced with wave conditions, you can still see a lot of water moving out there, even with the smaller conditions. There's some side waves, there's some backwash, there's still a lot of current out in the water. That's just par for the course here at Itacoatiara. And, every once in a while you'll see a rider, catch some chop on the face of the wave as the water rushes back out here with the angle of the beach. So you'll get ripples going up the face, and on some of the bigger sets, especially after a first set has come through, you'll see the water rushing back out, and it's almost like little waves rolling back out, and they roll up the face of the wave, and we've seen more than a few riders get bounced by that ripple effect.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the same effect when like a boat rolls through or a jet ski rolls through. You have that little chop on the wave, and that's what the rip current is doing as it's making its way back out.
Yes, perfect analogy, Manny. It's very much like a boat wake.
Andrew Cole tuning in from Cronulla, and Finn, Josh, Adam, and Nick in the Sunshine Coast tuning in, and we thank you for tuning in to the live feed here from Brazil. Let me tell you something, people. As soon as that sun hits the water, it's going to change this whole place night and day. This is what everybody's been waiting for, and that is the beautiful sunny skies of Brazil, and it's coming in, I'm saying, in the next 25 minutes. So you guys stay tuned. Out on the water, heat number 2 of round number 2, the elimination round. 2 riders go on, 2 riders are done. Up and right, here we go, Roberto Bruno.
Roberto Bruno coming to us from the state of Sierra. Fortaleza, the state capital, was up and riding on that one. Not a whole lot to work with for Roberto.
Wow, look at that rip current just going right through the contest area. And you can use that to your advantage, or you can, suffer the consequences and get caught into it. We saw a couple riders getting stuck into it for an advantage. It actually helped them get out quicker to the lineup. And disadvantage, we saw one of the riders get caught in it and just started paddling for the next 20 minutes. It was insane.
Yeah, there's multiple currents here you have to keep an eye out for. The ones pulling out you can use to your advantage, like Manny was saying. You can ride the rip out to the lineup and then cut out when you're where you need to be. But there's also a current that pulls along the edge of the water and pulls down towards Kushtown, the spot to the left when you're standing on the beach looking out over the ocean. And yesterday, even Pierre-Louis Costas, he was trying to get out of his heat and got stuck in the rip and pulled all the way down the beach. It took him extra time to get out of the water yesterday after winning his heat.
Round number 2, heat number 10. The conditions aren't as heavy today, but still we got some contestable waves, and there you have it. Eder Luciano in first place. Chase O'Leary in second, trying to build that 4.75 to get in that first place spot. But it is Andrew Lester and Roberto Bruno. Those two riders are in a critical situation right now where they have to find another solid second wave. What could happen is these two guys could get knocked out of the entire event. And, I'd hate to see Lester or any of the Brazilians get knocked out, but only two will advance on.
I know Andrew Lester was talking about how he'd like to cruise around and see a little bit more of Brazil after the contest is over, but I don't think he wants to bow out just quite yet. All right, Alberto Bruno up and riding on this one, drives off the bottom and punches the roll through the barreling lip and rides it out and then ducks out. So a quick wave for him, but there's that second wave he was looking for. And there you can see on your screen paddling back out. I'm going to duck under this one. Paddling back out, definitely not as bad as yesterday. We had guys catching 10-foot bombs like right in their face yesterday. Wasn't a pleasant paddle out for a lot of guys. Pretty much everybody who came in the booth and talked to you and myself yesterday was talking about how heavy it was to paddle back out through those.
Nice clean spin off the top as we another look at Roberto Bruno. Clean through the lip roll right there for Roberto Bruno. So that was a solid wave right there for Roberto. How is that going to fare in his standings? Well, that wave came in as a 5.5. He's going to jump into third place, bumping Andrew Lester down to second. That's going to be interesting now. Andrew Lester has 13 minutes to go to figure out what to do. Woo, look at that. Beautiful, beautiful. The sun is already on the horizon. It's just got to get up and over this mountain that's behind us, and it's going to happen. The sunny skies are here, but unfortunately the waves have dropped just a little bit as we continue with the action of the Itacoatiara Pro, sponsored by Pride, usec.com, and Net.
You know, it's good to see the sun out, Manny. Hopefully we'll see a repeat of yesterday. Yesterday, once the sun came out, the crowd on the beach was tremendous.
It was
we
crazy.
had people lined up on the beach, lined up on the streets, everybody with their VIP passes, their competitor passes, their staff passes, hanging out outside, enjoying the warmth of the sun, watching the action out in the water. And it looks like we may have a nice, beautiful day today. Honestly, when the sun came out yesterday, I started humming the Beatles. Here comes the sun.
Here comes the sun. Da, 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 da.
It felt good to see the sun after 3 days of nonstop rain and clouds and howling onshores.
Eder Luciano out in yellow. Taking a look at this, Chase O'Leary. He's currently in second place. He's looking all right now. He's just got to fend off Roberto Bruno, who's looking for a 6.89. And Andrew Lester in fourth place is looking for a 7.39. Oh, my.
You know what, Manny?
Chase O'Leary down at the back.
There you see Chase driving off the bottom, not lining up to his liking, so he's going to duck out through the face and paddle back out to the lineup. As I was about to say, I learned something yesterday about Niederoy. Has a couple of nicknames.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, Niederoy is also known, it's nicknamed Nikiti, or Little Nicky, and
hola.
is known as Cidade Sorriso, the
Ooh.
Smile City.
I like it.
Yeah, some interesting things here. You were talking about the origin of the.
Here's
We'll go to
what-
the replay first.
Yeah, here's what. Oh, nice clean scoop under the lip right there. Nice clean barrel. Did he come out? It looked like he did come out with a big roll at the end of that one. So a solid wave that went down as we were chatting or the peak was split, but that was Andrew Lester. He needed that wave, and that probably will bump him up into that second place position.
Yesterday, you were talking about how the name for here means painted rock. So I decided to do a little digging, and apparently that comes from the Tupi Amerindian language here in Brazil. All right, so Manny Vargas is going to duck out of the booth real quick. I'm going to hold it down while he's gone. Ooh, look at this set wave coming in. Up and riding, Chase O'Leary in the yellow jersey. Pulls into barrel, rolls through the lip. There he comes out through the white water. And looked like he kind of got bounced there. It'll be interesting to see how the judges score. It initially looked like he was riding out through the white water, but then it looked like the turbulence of the chop in there caught him. So waiting to see how the judges score that. Some nice wave exchange out there. Chase O'Leary with a solid one. Here's the replay of Ider Luciano on the wave prior to that. Nice big arcing roll, arms extended, legs out for the landing, bracing for the hit. Rides out. All right, and Andrew Lester's wave, the barrel that he rolled out of, 8.8. So there's that wave that Andrew Lester was looking for. So now he has a 5 and an 8.8, and here we have a replay of Chase O'Leary's last wave. Drops in, gets the cover up, punches the roll through the lip as it's about to section off on him, comes out through the white water, and then I don't know if he ducked out or if he caught a rail, but hopefully that gets scored as a complete maneuver. But again, I'm not a judge. There's a reason why I'm here in the webcast booth and not with the judges. And here we have red, Roberto Bruno up and riding, driving down the line looking for a section, and he's going to kick out of that. So bear with me. Again, we're still having a little, still waiting for our tech guy to come back in with our live scoring iPad, and I'll get you an update on the scores as soon as I can. You can see Lester paddling back out. So again, solid wave exchange from our riders out in the water. For those of you just tuning in, right now we have Heat 2 of Round 2 out in the water. Roberto Bruno in red, Ider Luciano in white, Chase O'Leary in yellow, and Andrew Lester in the blue jersey. Andrew Lester just scoring an 8.8 on his last wave. This is the 2012 Itacoatiara Pro, sponsored by Pride, Uzuke.com, and Net. Net is a cable and internet provider. They are the official internet provider for the Itacoatiara Pro. There you see Chase O'Leary up and riding again. A nice air roll spin off of that section. Going to throw his hand up in the air to show that he completed the move and was going to duck out. We've started to see that more and more on the tour. Riders completing maneuvers, completing their waves, throwing up their hand in the air to acknowledge to the judges, hey, I've completed the wave, and then they duck out, making sure that they get scored. And again, here's a replay of Chase. The air roll spin off of that foamy lip section, gets it around clean, throws his hand up, and then ducks out. And here we have Ider Luciano up and riding on this one. Looks like it's going to stand up a little for him. Going for another air roll spin and gets it around clean. And there you can see the glare from the sun. Sun finally coming out here in Niterói in the state of Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. This is stop number 4 out of 8 on the men's Grand Slam series. Came into this event with Dave Winchester in the points lead, coming off his win in Arica over Guilherme Tamega. Tamega looking to redeem himself here in his home country of Brazil here at this event. We'll see him later on in the day coming up in round 3. All right, and bear with me while I listen to the beach announcer giving scores. Here's a replay of Ider Luciano in his last wave. Gets a nice lip section, gets the air roll spin around, and then we lose him in the glare of the sun, but he was able to ride out of that. All right, so for those of you just joining us, we're in round 2 today, right now, and we'll be going into round 3. We saw round 1 yesterday, non-elimination round, so all of our riders from yesterday were sorted out and separated into round 2 and round 3. And it's put up or shut up time right now. Again, trying to listen to the beach announcer to get the latest scores. Bear with me, my Portuguese is not the best, so trying to discern what I said. Meanwhile, Alberto Bruno up and riding on this one, driving down the line, hits the roll, and rides out through the whitewater. So nice wave from Alberto Bruno on that one, throws his hand up to acknowledge to the judges that he completed the move before ducking out. All right, and there you have it. Scores up on the screen. Adair Luciano in the lead with a 7.2 and a 6.08. Andrew Lester in second with an 8.08 and a 5. Chase O'Leary currently sitting in third, needs a 5.46 to move into advancing position. And Alberto Bruno sitting in fourth needs a 6.64. So that's the current situation out in the water with just under 4 minutes remaining here in Heat 2 of Round 2. Coming up on deck in the next heat, we are going to see Dudu Pedra and Guilherme Correa. Dudu Pedra, the main event wild card from here in Niterói, Itacoatiara local. He is joined out in the water by the trialist wild card. Meanwhile, up and riding, Chase O'Leary. Chase trying to get around that section, going to duck out before it sections off on him. Also in the next heat, we're going to see Mitch Rollins from Australia and Mike Stewart, the lone Hawaiian, in round 2. So stay tuned for that. And coming up after that, we're going to see Sergio Luis, the wild card champion, the trials champion, joining Michael Novi, Sam Bennett, and Magno Passos out in the water for Heat 4. So more action coming up. We're going to be non-stop today, just plowing through heats as we finally have Mother Nature and the weather on our side. It's nice to finally have the offshores. The sun is out. The swell's a little smaller, but still definitely packing a punch. 3 to 4 foot, cleaner conditions, and we've got a good show to come. So stay tuned. For those of you at home, I'll get that in a sec. Alberto Bruno up and riding, ducks out. It's blue. Andrew Lester up and riding, hits a nice roll off that section, driving off the bottom. Hits a nice invert off of that section. That's a solid wave for Andrew Lester. That may very well replace his secondary score of a 5 and potentially move him into the top spot. So stay tuned for a possible situation change. We'll wait and see how the judges score that as we watch Andrew duck under a wave and paddle back out to the lineup. Meanwhile, Chase O'Leary drops into this one. Going for the air roll spin, but lands in the pocket and just gets ragdolled in the whitewater. Nice attempt by Chase O'Leary, but unable to complete the maneuver. Meanwhile, Adair Luciano with a nice barrel ride comes out, hits a clean roll before the wave closes out. But looks like he lost the handle on his board in the whitewater. All the turbulence bounced him off his board. So it'll be interesting to see if they get scored as a complete maneuver, but still a nice barrel ride on that one for Adair Luciano. So again, welcome for everybody tuning in. Here's a replay of Alberto Bruno on his last wave. Drives in. Andrew Lester takes off, has priority over Bruno. Hits a nice roll, and then eyes up this section, and look at that. Nice, clean invert. Classic textbook Andrew Lester. And Andrew Lester's going to score an 8.87. That's going to move him into the lead ahead of Adair Luciano. All right, so again, listening to the beach announcer while I wait for the iPad's instant scoring to come up here. Like I said, situation change. Andrew Lester moving to the top spot with on the strength of an 8.8. Here we can see the replay of Ider Luciano's last wave. Nice barrel ride, comes out, hits the roll, lands, and then the whitewater explosion just engulfs him. That was a nice heat by Andrew Lester. He was very unhappy with his performance yesterday, and here he comes out, puts together a nice, solid heat, wins his round 2 heat, and he will move on into round 3.